Beyond Anora.
I tell my story as an ordinary 40-years-old guy living in Brooklyn, New York, for 2 years, and working as a Spanish teacher ever since. I confess to never having had a girlfriend, a casual lover, yes, who sometimes left me bankrupt, but a little feminine warmth was something I couldn't deprive myself of when I could. Then I had to take care of my finances, which weren't very abundant. I live on a small street in the Brighton Beach neighborhood. My landlady is a robust, blonde woman with a strong character, but thanks to the fact that I keep my rooms tidy and the rest of the passageway smelling of poet, she's come to appreciate me to the point of giving me food when I get home from work. I was forced to learn some broken Russian to be able to understand her a little, as her English was somewhat deficient. She told me her name was Lena Sergeyevna, she was 55 years old, and she was from Moscow. She was always nagging her very plump children about their sedentary lifestyle when she went out for a run every morning. I may not have earned your contempt for that, but I have earned some form of your antipathy, except from your little 12-year-old daughter, Elena. It was the first few months of the year, and it usually snows a lot by then, but that didn't stop me. It was then that something happened that changed my life. I was running next to the small houses next to the high-rise railroad tracks when I saw her, thin, with skin as white as December snow, hair as long as a comet's trail, black as a winter night. She was sitting on the bottom steps of the staircase that led to what was apparently her house, a humble one, but spacious enough. That first time, I was jogging away from her, on the other side of the street. I stared at her for a few seconds, until she raised her head. I got nervous, I didn't want her to think I was some kind of stalker, so I quickened my pace. It became routine for me to pass by that place. During recess at the high school where I worked, I thought about her all the time. I noticed she was very sad, and that sparked my compassion, even though I had seen her face very few times. The next day I passed by again. It was a rainy day, but I wasn't interested, I continued with my routine. Until one Sunday, after the morning rain had subsided, I could see his face more clearly, or so it seemed. From his window, hidden behind his curtains. A surge of terror ran down my spine. I think I'll change routes, he must think I'm a stalker. I ran the following week, albeit by a different route. I stopped to order a coffee, and then I saw her again. She was outside the establishment, although the very large glass doors allowed me to observe her full body this time, but somewhat separated from her. She had large black eyes, a not very prominent aquiline nose that stood out, full lips, and a generously sized mouth. She was smoking a half-finished cigarette, and judging by her expression, she seemed somewhere between sadness and boredom. She looked back at me, cold as the winds of the dock at night, but as warm as a scarf. I tore my eyes away from her and hurried out the door. Then she spoke, leaving me paralyzed.
I live with my sister, she leaned closer. Her boyfriend is an athlete and can run faster and catch up to you. I can convince him to do what you're planning to do to me. Miss, she said, trembling, forgive me. I didn't mean to worry you. I'm just passing by on my jogging routine. I couldn't help but watch you. No, just harassing you. That's not true, I insisted. In fact, I'm your neighbor. I live 2 blocks from you. That's why I changed my running route, so I wouldn't bother you anymore. She stared at me, and after a long, 1-minute pause, she threw away her cigarette and decided to change the subject. So, does jogging every morning help you? She asked, looking as if she were trying to hold back her laughter. It keeps me healthy, I replied, hiding my intention to warn her about the dangers of smoking. You look great, he mentioned again. Your girlfriend certainly won't want to share you with someone else. I don't have a girlfriend, I replied, laughing lightly. Really, since when? She leaned closer inquisitively. For as long as I can remember, I've always been a loner. My teenage years weren't like Kevin Arnold's, I assure you. I never cried over a breakup or betrayal. No, that's not true. Please, don't tell me there aren't any girls where you come from, she exclaimed, raising her arms and dropping them to hit her waist with her hands. There are, I replied lamely, but not for people like me. They tend to lose their freedom before their 30s. She started to laugh. Her features further emphasized her now altered mood. Is that coffee? She looked at my plastic cup. I won't get paid until tomorrow, and my sister is a little upset because I haven't given her enough money for the paper. Here, I said, bringing the cup closer to her, looking at her and sensing that she hadn't eaten. Her expression awakened deep compassion and tenderness in me, and she smiled painfully. Wait, I interrupted. Let's go to my house. I'll get some money. If you'd like, I'd like to treat you to lunch, even dinner if you'd like. Until dinner, she asked graciously. Sure. Dinner early, since I start work at 8. Do you work until Sunday? I inquired. Especially on weekends, my friend, but I think tonight I'll have a lot of energy for you. Where do you work? I asked as we walked toward my room. First fill my thin belly and then I'll tell you, she replied, placing her hands on her stomach. You can count on it, I replied, laughing. It was the first time I'd asked a girl out in a long time. It had been 18 years since then. I took her to see Spider-Man. We entered my home. She lay down on the small couch and started playing with her cell phone while I quickly showered and dressed, as well as looking for the money. As I came out, already dressed, something came to mind that I should have asked her a while ago. Friend, I'm sorry I didn't ask your name. How stupid of me. I don't think it's that important, but I'll tell you if you tell me first. I love this song. She started listening to Physical by Olivia Newton-John. I mentioned my full name as well as where I'm from. Wow, you're from Peru. Someday I hope to visit your country, if you're willing to be my tour guide, of course. It's a pleasure. My name is. You can call me Arnie. Nice to meet you, Arnie, or Anna, and, like Anne Hathaway, Anna de Armas, Anna Kendrick, and Baxter, and Bancroft, Anna Faris, Anna Paquin, even a beautiful angel named Anne Frank. Just Arnie, thanks. Let's go now, I'm starving. I smiled, happy to have someone to eat with. When we opened the door, we were surprised by the presence of my landlady, Lady Lena. Seeing me with Arnie, instead of being upset, she looked at me with a mischievous look, as if to say she was glad I'd found a partner, even though she was aware of my loneliness. She handed me some kind of pink marshmallows on a plate. She gestured that they were delicious, touching my stomach. Eat, boy, you're very thin. You are very красив.
Ты такая красивая, позаботься об этом мальчике, он хороший человек. Убедитесь, что он кормит.
Saying these words, she left very happy. I didn't understand that last bit. I must have taken out my cell phone to consult my translator. I've learned some Russian, but not fluently enough. Don't worry, I think she asked me to make sure you were eating. Wow, I added, surprised. I think you've lived in this Russian neighborhood longer than I have. Thanks to my grandmother. Hey, I know you're trying to get in shape. Can I have these Zephyrs? I smiled, happy that she was leaving behind that autumn-turned-winter look. Sure, I'll get you a Tupperware so you can take them with you. We walked a few blocks to a small restaurant. She apparently had a big appetite, as she devoured what was served to her in just a few minutes. As I did so, her eating gestures filled me with an intense feeling, a great sense of well-being at giving to another person, as a Phil Collins song would say, another day in paradise. What? She asked, puzzled. I wanted to tell her that despite being a bit disheveled, she was very beautiful. Eat before you get cold. Look, your landlady left you in my care. So, Arnie, what do you do? I'm a Spanish teacher, I asked with that natural curiosity one has toward a stranger, which wasn't so much of a teacher anymore. I had an English teacher at school, it was in middle school. My sister was his favorite, he was very handsome, and I would have given anything for him to notice me. I learned to be rebellious since puberty. My sister was the proper one, the one with handsome suitors, apparently, I was the ugly one. You're not ugly at all, I replied, puzzled. I know that, many people tell me so, otherwise, you wouldn't have stared at me as you passed by my house, and now you are. I love your hair, I added, beautiful jet black. Thank you, she added, smiling. Oh, I haven't answered you, I dance a lot, and that's why, like you, I'm in good shape, but, unlike you, I work hard dancing all night. I sensed then that I should be a cabaret or nightclub dancer. Exotic dancer, I said, I'm sure pole dancer. I love that art. I admire people who do it, it requires physical fitness. Your landlady could never do it. We both burst out laughing. Neither could my proper sister, who wouldn't even dance for her boyfriend. Sometimes I think she looks at me lustfully, but she'd never pay for. Look, I'll tell you this detail later. I work at the headquarters club, at 552, West 38th Street in Manhattan. You were good to me, so as a reward, I'll give you a dance or two at half price. Stay away from Diamond, we have a mutually hateful relationship. To be honest, I'd just like to chat. Don't despise my charms, friend. Once you see me in action, it'll be your second home, I guarantee it. I won't be able to go all the time, I'm not good enough to go very often. Then every time you go, it'll be a great event. I'll always be waiting for you. After eating, we headed to a stop. I still owe you lunch and dinner. Honey, I'm sorry. I have to get home, take care of some business with my sister, and get enough sleep to get through tonight, but I really appreciate the meal. I'll never forget how good you were to me. Then here, I gave her $100. Please eat well and go to work. I won't be able to see you today, I have to be at high school early tomorrow. How about Friday? Annie looked at me and a big smile spread across her wide lips. Don't let me down. I'll do something special for you. I have an excellent playlist. I wouldn't miss it for anything, but I'd love to stay and talk afterward. If your landlady isn't too nosy, I can visit you at your house for one night, give you a private session dressed as one of your teenage students, and then, I was thinking of watching a movie, I added, feeling a great heat in my lower body. I was thinking of starring in one, one of those that. He burst out laughing, pushing me with his hip. I don't think I have enough to pay you for one night, I replied with some disappointment. Look, I can save up, and well, it's better to go to a hotel with a big room and even a jacuzzi. And a nice dinner, apart from me, of course. He laughed again. When he calmed down, he looked me straight in the eyes and in a serious voice, he wrote. There's all kinds of people at my job, good men, swine, impatient young men, perverted old men, but they almost always look at us all like pieces of meat. You're different. Once he was someone like you, he had a big heart, he even carried flowers and chocolates, he had found out each of our birthdays. But he was cruelly hurt. I don't want that to happen to you, so I'm telling you in advance, don't fall in love with either of us. We'll give you all the company you want, but don't give us your heart. We've only known each other for a few hours, and I've gained a client, but I don't wish to hurt you. We can be friends then, I replied with resignation. We already are, but we won't go any further then, only if you want and pay well, having a great time between the sheets, in the shower, in an elevator, even in a classroom at your school, pretending I'm one of your students. I'll be 20 next year. That sounds more than great. When's your birthday? I'm an Aries, March 25th. I won't give you any more information. If you want to know more about me, you'll have to go to the club. I'll bring you flowers and chocolates. But not in the shape of a heart, my friend, they break easily. Okay. She moved away from me after kissing me on the cheek, turned around, and smiling, reminded me of the agreement in a resounding voice. Don't forget, Friday. I'll be waiting for you. I'll definitely go. She walked away. It was a great change. Now spring was blooming on her face.
The week passed quickly. I didn't want to bring any flowers to avoid the inconvenience of them wilting, so, as I'd told her, I stopped by La Maison du Chocolat Rockefeller and bought my new friend a box of Godiva Coquelitia. I eagerly awaited the arrival of nightfall, took a taxi, and headed to the store Annie had told me about. Located on the corner of a block was the headquarters, with few exterior lights and a very simple sign with cold neon tones. I entered quickly to feel safe, since its location made me suspicious. I realized it was an exclusive place, not a dive for drunks and overweight prostitutes, especially given the $20 entrance fee. Loud electronic music, neon lights ranging from pink to light blue, and the scent of medium to low-quality perfume and cigarette smoke. And then the best part of the place, something that would give me a bad reputation among my prudish colleagues. Girls everywhere in very skimpy clothing. I couldn't find Annie anywhere, so I sat at the bar for a Coke, a pleasure I indulged in from time to time, and not diet, since I didn't drink much. Someone thought of putting on something from the 80s, Hit of the Night by Sandra, which culminated in a girl approaching. She had brown skin, full lips, and tied back brown hair.
Can I get you something, honey? Hi, I replied nervously. I mentioned my name and apologized for probably taking away a job opportunity from her. It's not that I'm looking to diss you, I'm looking for someone. We agreed to meet here. Don't worry, love, the competition is tough in this place. A pleasure, my name is Lulu, is that box for her? Yes, I promised to bring it as a gift for our meeting. Your name is Lulu, like the little one, I smiled. It's a very beautiful name. There are girls so beautiful it's hard to choose. Believe me, darling, she replied with a sigh, some may be doves on the outside, but saw rats on the inside. At least the music is good, I mentioned, making light dance moves, which she joined in with. Look, I know I'm asking too much, and it's your time, but if you'd like. In private, love, she interrupted, this is work, not play. It's $100 a session, plus whatever you put on me. I smiled, somewhat disappointed. It was obvious, it's a strip club, not a party. Well, those parties I haven't been to in years. I felt so embarrassed, aside from forgetting what Annie warned me about. Please forgive me. I like that song, and I haven't danced in a long time. She smiled, gently punched me on the shoulder, and said something that made me want to make an effort to see her again. Relax, my friend and I love parties, good music, and people who like the same things. Your friend, I mentioned, intrigued. I had a hunch. Yes, my friend Annie, she loves to dance. You should see her on the pole, she's one of the best. Annie. I exclaimed her name excitedly. Do you know Annie? I think you already know her. You came for her, right? Yes, this morning I invited her to lunch. She hadn't been paid, and I don't think she gets along with her sister. She works really hard. This job is very demanding, exhausting. You can do house calls and give your affection for good money, but you never know what psychopath you might run into, and they can really hurt you. I'm sorry, look, I just came to talk to her. I'll pay for her time. I know you have to dance a lot. Yes, my friend, and I'm looking forward to the tips. You make more money with, but it's very risky, you never know, you might even damage your health. I felt so sorry for her, so much that I wanted to get her out of there and invite her to eat something, but I had to see Annie, not because I despised her, but because I gave her my word that I would see her at her workplace. Look, there she comes, she indicated, drawing my attention inside the establishment. Then I saw the girl with black hair adorned with glittery red braids and a hooked nose. Wearing a very short, tight black dress, she was waving off two guys in suits with a smile that abruptly changed to an expression of apathy. Annie, friend, this guy wants to see you. He says he knows you. Annie approached, and her expression immediately became more pleasant. I had a feeling you'd come, she placed one of her hands on my shoulder. It wouldn't hurt, I brought you a box of Godiva cocktail, she emphasized her French exaggeratedly. Share it with Lulu, it'll brighten up their evening. It's better than smoking, I assure you. They both looked at me smiling, as if they were happy that someone cared about them. Annie approached me flirtatiously, placed her hands on my left shoulder, and took the box of chocolates from my right. Dear Lulu, she stared at me, this guy saved my life the Sunday and today, especially from my sister's horrible taste. They both burst out laughing, a laugh that infected me. Well, dear Peruvian, let's not waste any time. I promised you a dance, remember? We'll see you later, Lulu. I must make this gentleman happy as a reward for making a hungry lady happy. I said goodbye to Lulu. She made a grimace of go. Now, and we entered. Annie dragged me, almost like a guide dog, to a part of the venue with a narrow passageway, where the dance rooms were. She placed me on a small sofa and, before taking off her dress, said, I want to give you something special, darling. I've been sweating a little. Give me 5 minutes to clean up, and I'll come back smelling delicious. Beautiful, I replied, my blood boiling, you already smell delicious. But I can smell better, and I confess I did something unpleasant a while ago. I shouldn't have eaten those spicy wings. I'll be back in a bit. And she came out a commercial and you'll be back, I said to myself. I had a fit of laughter. She's as human as I'd like, and not an illusion. I feel happy about that dash.
I waited for her while listening to I Just Died in Your Arms Tonight by Cutting Crew. I think it served as the soundtrack for the girls dancing in the adjoining rooms. Suddenly, the curtain opened, and she magically appeared, her hair wet and smelling of yarrow. I knew that scent from a Russian goods store. She slowly took off her dress, until she was left in a tiny gold thong. She approached me and began to wiggle on top of me, shamelessly showing her bare back, buttocks, and the butterflies tattooed on her thighs. I sensed from her, apart from the fresh fragrance of her body, the joy of dancing and making love to me, without actually doing it. I felt her beauty so close and yet so far away that, Intuitively, I decided not to touch her so as not to ruin the moment. As she bent down to show me the full splendor of her backside, I quickly looked up The Way It Is by Bruce Hornsby, which I luckily found quickly. It was a song that moved me. Seeing her so nearly naked beside me was sublime. Her body, more than exciting me, moved me. It was like having something divine and carnal very close to me, very delicate and ethereal.
Why are you playing this song? She complained. It's very, I don't know, inappropriate. You're like this song, I replied, struck to the point of shedding a small tear by being with a girl like that. One of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. She laid on top of me, stared at me intently, trying to be serious, but I think she realized I'd broken her routine a bit. She brushed back her long, jet black hair, trimmed with little red ribbons, and snuggled up to my side, putting her mouth close to my ear. That was beautiful, darling, thank you. It's a very beautiful song, inappropriate, but beautiful. She's like you, I added as the piano and synthesizer solo played. I looked at her for a while, tucking $100 bill into her thong. I didn't bring much, sorry. Besides, I wanted to talk to you after the dance, maybe get something to drink. She put her elbows on mine, crossing her fingers, smiled, and kissed me on the cheek. Don't forget I gave you a discount. Let me finish, and then we'll talk about something to drink. I know you're a lonely guy looking for a girl, and you have such a good heart that you gave up a big glass of fresh coffee and delicious pastries to give them to that girl. You're unique, darling, and for that, you'll be rewarded. She continued with her dance, although she made me change the song. I opted for You Can Leave Your Hat On by Joe Cocker, as it was more than appropriate for the moment. At the end I look for her dress, a garment that I had and that I offered to put on her. It's great that gentlemen still exist. Love, thank you. We went outside and sat down. I ordered her a beer, which she had previously ordered for me, while I settled for a ginger ale. So you're from Peru, Ani began. Which part specifically? I'm from the capital. Lima, she replied, I've always wanted to visit. I read about your country, going to the Love Park would be great, and at night, the Magic Water Circuit. A few days later, visiting Machu Picchu in Cusco. Flying over the Nazca lines. I recommend the jungle, where I spent most of my life. Which part? Loreto, you'll love the food, especially from all over my country. If the wings aren't too spicy, I'm in. She laughed out loud and lay down on top of me. With confidence at its peak, it was now my turn to delve into this lady's life, so I decided to investigate her origins. Lima, she replied, I've always wanted to visit. I read about your country, going to the Love Park would be great, and at night, the Magic Water Circuit. A few days later, visiting Machu Picchu in Cusco. Flying over the Nazca lines. I recommend the jungle, where I spent most of my life. Which part? Loreto, you'll love the food, especially from all over my country. If the wings aren't too spicy, I'm in. She laughed out loud and lay down on top of me. With confidence at its peak, it was now my turn to delve into this lady's life, so I decided to investigate her origins. I sense you're from Russia, or am I wrong? They say Russian girls are of a very singular beauty. Third-generation ancestry. My grandmother immigrated to this country very young, like the sweetheart sitting next to you, in the early 60s. You know, she was fed up with Nikita Khrushchev and the communist Reds. And your parents? I mean, pardon my excessive curiosity. My sister and I decided to become independent before turning 20. She was lucky, she was able to study. I think I was surplus to requirements, so I decided to do this job more than anything for the money. I wanted to study something that was truly my passion, and that is looking at me dreamily, dancing. Since my parents didn't earn enough, only my sister was able to go to university, but my dear, I'm not a conformist. I took pole dancing classes, which somewhat damaged my reputation, because in my family's narrow-minded mindset, they associate it with, so I started at 16. I studied it for 3 years and ended up in this place. How long have you been doing this? I asked with some anxiety. Honestly, it's only been 2 years, and I haven't been able to save enough to retire yet. I like doing this better, the rest, if I like the client and if he pays good money. It wasn't so traumatic the first time. I lost my virginity at 14, and with an older guy, though. I wanted to do it with the teacher I told you about. Is that why you distanced yourself from your parents? I looked at her with great compassion. Honestly, my friend, yes, but only because I pole dance with very little clothing. They don't know about the other stuff yet. My sister tolerates me so she doesn't feel bad, and so I don't have to do this work on the dangerous streets. If I did this work there, I'm sure my arms would be covered in scars, my face gaunt, and I'd look like a 60-year-old woman, 20 kilos lighter. A song came to mind about someone named Anna, who was friend with a beggar and took amphetamines when she felt ill, that her crib was a sad hole. Which made me draw closer to her. It awakened my protective instinct. Apparently, if one would wish to be more intimate with you. Love, I'm sorry to say I'm, let's say, quite expensive. Forgive me, I have to be selective, even in appearance. There are rich men, but they can be obsessive. I don't want to end up in a garbage collector, or several. I don't think I should get my hopes up. I resigned myself. She leaned into me, whispering to me that she wasn't so unattainable. Why are you playing this song? She complained. It's very, I don't know, inappropriate. You're like this song, I replied, struck to the point of shedding a small tear by being with a girl like that. One of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. She laid on top of me, stared at me intently, trying to be serious, but I think she realized I'd broken her routine a bit. She brushed back her long, jet black hair, trimmed with little red ribbons, and snuggled up to my side, putting her mouth close to my ear. That was beautiful, darling, thank you. It's a very beautiful song, inappropriate, but beautiful. She's like you, I added as the piano and synthesizer solo played. I looked at her for a while, tucking $100 bill into her thong. I didn't bring much, sorry. Besides, I wanted to talk to you after the dance, maybe get something to drink. She put her elbows on mine, crossing her fingers, smiled, and kissed me on the cheek. Don't forget I gave you a discount. Let me finish, and then we'll talk about something to drink. I know you're a lonely guy looking for a girl, and you have such a good heart that you gave up a big glass of fresh coffee and delicious pastries to give them to that girl. You're unique, darling, and for that, you'll be rewarded. She continued with her dance, although she made me change the song. I opted for You Can Leave Your Hat On by Joe Cocker, as it was more than appropriate for the moment. At the end I look for her dress, a garment that I had and that I offered to put on her. It's great that gentlemen still exist. Love, thank you. We went outside and sat down. I ordered her a beer, which she had previously ordered for me, while I settled for a ginger ale. So you're from Peru, Ani began. Which part specifically? I'm from the capital. Lima, she replied, I've always wanted to visit. I read about your country, going to the Love Park would be great, and at night, the Magic Water Circuit. A few days later, visiting Machu Picchu in Cusco. Flying over the Nazca lines. I recommend the jungle, where I spent most of my life. Which part? Loreto, you'll love the food, especially from all over my country. If the wings aren't too spicy, I'm in. She laughed out loud and lay down on top of me. With confidence at its peak, it was now my turn to delve into this lady's life, so I decided to investigate her origins. I sense you're from Russia, or am I wrong? They say Russian girls are of a very singular beauty. Third-generation ancestry. My grandmother immigrated to this country very young, like the sweetheart sitting next to you, in the early 60s. You know, she was fed up with Nikita Khrushchev and the communist Reds. And your parents? I mean, pardon my excessive curiosity. My sister and I decided to become independent before turning 20. She was lucky, she was able to study. I think I was surplus to requirements, so I decided to do this job more than anything for the money. I wanted to study something that was truly my passion, and that is looking at me dreamily, dancing. Since my parents didn't earn enough, only my sister was able to go to university, but my dear, I'm not a conformist. I took pole dancing classes, which somewhat damaged my reputation, because in my family's narrow-minded mindset, they associate it with, so I started at 16. I studied it for 3 years and ended up in this place. How long have you been doing this? I asked with some anxiety. Honestly, it's only been 2 years, and I haven't been able to save enough to retire yet. I like doing this better. The rest, if I like the client and if he pays good money. It wasn't so traumatic the first time. I lost my virginity at 14, and with an older guy, though, I wanted to do it with the teacher I told you about. Is that why you distanced yourself from your parents? I looked at her with great compassion. Honestly, my friend, yes, but only because I pole dance with very little clothing. They don't know about the other stuff yet. My sister tolerates me so she doesn't feel bad, and so I don't have to do this work on the dangerous streets. If I did this work there, I'm sure my arms would be covered in scars, my face gaunt, and I'd look like a 60-year-old woman, 20 kilos lighter. A song came to mind about someone named Anna, who was friend with a beggar and took amphetamines when she felt ill, that her crib was a sad hole. Which made me draw closer to her. It awakened my protective instinct. Apparently, if one would wish to be more intimate with you, love, I'm sorry to say I'm, let's say, quite expensive. Forgive me, I have to be selective, even in appearance. There are rich men, but they can be obsessive. I don't want to end up in a garbage collector, or several. I don't think I should get my hopes up. I resigned myself. She leaned into me, whispering to me that she wasn't so unattainable. Give me your number and tell me how much you've saved up via WhatsApp, and we'll see what to do. It'll take a long time. Love, I'm not going anywhere. Just tell me when, and we'll have a great time. Then, my enthusiasm returned. I can save up enough to go to a hotel, with jacuzzi, something classy. With champagne included. I laughed graciously. Yes, whatever you want, but what are you allowing to do with that service? I asked, my nerves on edge. She looked at me, and at first, putting on a very serious, disapproving expression, managed to intimidate me, until she suddenly changed it to a broad smile. Love, as long as you don't ask me for grotesque, unhygienic, and tasteless fetishes. Whatever you want, we can even make a porn. The last bit startled me, making it very obvious. She repeated her psychological game with me until I burst out laughing, leaning closer to my ear again. But without cameras, darling, I'm not going down that path. It's even more dangerous. There are people who force you to do 1,001 dirty things. I'd rather keep this private. It would be fun, but there are many who haven't seen my anus yet for free. If you want to see it, well, you know. I remained silent, even with an obvious erection, which she clearly noticed, laughing, but softly and without attracting attention. I think I've awakened desires in you. Give me your cell phone so I can write down my number. I handed over my phone. She wrote her number on it, and when she handed it back she laid down on the sofa, like someone who was certain she had me at her mercy. How much for one night? I asked nervously. $1,500 and I'll leave you more than satisfied. That's a more than fair price, I replied, putting my phone away. Tell me, would you include a dance? I'm including a big lie, love. A lie? What do you mean by that? I asked, confused. The lie, leaning her beautiful head back on the back of the couch, of making you believe you're on your honeymoon, a very sweet love. I smiled at this answer, leaned closer to her, which she reciprocated. I asked if she wanted another beer, but she ordered the same thing I did, a ginger ale. Let's change the subject. Would you ever let me take you to the movies? If I have time and the movie is good, love. We can go see Infinity War, if you have time. I'd have to ask permission, honey, and it might cost you. Besides, it's over 2 hours long and will delay our wild encounter even further. When it comes out on streaming, we can watch it during my break. We can go to a matinee. I'll think about it, but I work all night, and even though the movie would be great, I'd fall asleep. Let's just leave it when I have more time. The story of my life, I said to myself. We talked for a full hour, the price I had paid. She told me a lot about herself, like the time she stole her sister's boyfriend when she was 13 and received her first kiss from him. I told her I got him when I was 30 and it cost me $300, and that at my age, I wasn't that big a deal anymore, a confession that visibly saddened her. That she did it her first time when she was a little drunk, and that in the end she didn't take it that seriously. Well, it was with the boy she didn't like, simply because he was a favor he granted her. Besides, he was an older boy. I don't think you and I are that different, she observed. We never had idyllic romances. Or permanent ones, I added, but we didn't allow anyone to hurt us. Since I was 16, I've aspired to make films, to create stories that impact, that move, that are immortal. But aside from the mockery of some family members, my parents couldn't afford it. In my country, it was a career for the rich when I finished high school. Now it's more accessible, but I still can't afford it. You can move to Los Angeles, write a script, one about me. I'd tell you lots of anecdotes about my life, my experiences in this club, and the girls' club too. It would give you material for many scripts. That would be great, Arnie, I replied, very embarrassed, but unfortunately my visa expires in January 2020. It's complicated to renew it, and until I do, I have to return to my country. I think I'll opt for self-taught. Like me, love, I took many classes on YouTube, she laughed, spilling a bit of her drink. God bless the creators of the internet, I said, raising my glass of ginger ale. Let's drink to that, she exclaimed. My hour was up, and I proceeded to leave. Arnie led me to the exit, this time with a genuine smile on her face. I'll get some for you. Our wild night. Go for it, honey. Don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. When you're ready, call me. Thanks, this is delicious. Sharing a hot chocolate with Lulu.
Then I left. I spotted her in the distance, always smiling, which filled me with joy. I'd broken her routine, altered her coming and going with one client after another like an assembly line. Toward the end of March, I went to her house to wish her a happy birthday, the same day as my mom's. Her sister, an attractive girl, but without her charm, greeted me. Good morning, is Annie home? We met 2 months ago, it's her birthday, I came to say hello. Hi, she greeted politely. If you can even wake her up, she disappears all night, coming back at 6 o'clock and sleeping until 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
To be honest, I have no idea where she eats, or if she even does. I just know that she gives me little, if any, for the paper. She's my sister, and I know, even if she doesn't know it, what she does at night. I don't kick her out of pity. She's my sister, and I know that if I do, she could end up homeless or worse. She doesn't get along with my parents, but that doesn't mean they hate her, and I certainly don't. It woke up in me a tremendous desire in me to protect her. I'm not very financially capable, but I would have all my love for her. I know she warned me not to fall in love. I'll be back at 5 then. Please let her know when I wake up. I'll try, but once she gets up, she acts quickly. To her, my bedroom is the only home, she prefers being out. Thank you, I concluded curtly. I left the door, went downstairs, and returned to my room. I called my mom to wish her a happy birthday. I felt a little frustrated. I wanted to share something with Arnie, since I couldn't do it with Mom because she was thousands of miles away. I was patient. I'll wait for her at her house after work, I said to myself. Since she always wore a suit to work and it was snowing all the time. The chocolates wouldn't melt. They were the same brand I brought her last time. She loved them so much, and they would make a great gift. The roses were a little stiff from the weather, but at least they hadn't wilted. That's when she came out. She was wearing a brown trench coat and a tight, opaque light blue dress. Just as we reached the end of the stairs, I startled her with my greeting. Arnie. Hello, happy birthday. When she saw me, she put on a serious face, a seriousness that slowly transformed into a smile. She approached me and let me hug her. Sorry if it's more of the same, but you liked those chocolates. Repeating them is the spice of life, but they're just for you. These roses, I know they'll wither soon. Never mind that, she interrupted me. I love these chocolates. No one's ever given them to me before. Your roses are beautiful. Thank you. Hardly anyone remembers my birthday. She said the last words, trying not to break down. I hope I don't keep you from getting to work. I'll leave you for now. See you later. No, please don't go. It's still early to go to work. I don't know. I'd like something from your country. You read my mind, I responded enthusiastically. We'll go to PIO 8, it's at 604, 10th Avenue, you'll love it. Then let's not waste any time. What's the house specialty? Lots of things, but I think the grilled chicken will suit you at this hour. Never mind that, she interrupted me. I love these chocolates. No one's ever given them to me before. Your roses are beautiful.
Thank you.
Hardly anyone remembers my birthday. She said the last words, trying not to break down. I hope I don't keep you from getting to work. I'll leave you for now. See you later. No, please don't go. It's still early to go to work. I don't know, I'd like something from your country. You read my mind, I responded enthusiastically. We'll go to PIO 8, it's at 604, 10th Avenue, you'll love it. Then let's not waste any time. What's the house specialty? Lots of things, but I think the grilled chicken will suit you at this hour. I hope I don't react badly. I'll have a lot of customers today, she replied, somewhat concerned. Don't worry, it's grilled chicken with very little seasoning. Grilled, wow. I like it, let's go. It's my birthday, treat me. Your wishes are my will, madam, he laughed softly, making a gesture like an English nobleman's servant. We took the taxi as the sunset began to appear. We arrived at our destination and sat at a table by the window. I ordered 2 quarters of grilled chicken with steamed potatoes, salad, and the appropriate cream sauce. For drinks, I ordered a half-price bottle of wine and another of Coca-Cola. She didn't mind, though, she was too busy devouring her dinner. Don't eat so fast, we should toast first, I said, raising my wine glass. For my 19, I hope we toast to your 41 soon, she said, emptying the glass in one gulp. They should give you a break for your birthday, I mentioned worriedly. In this business, my dear friend, there's no break. Clients are always coming, and I'm saving up for my own apartment. You know, I need privacy. My sister's boyfriend is always staring at my ass, and to annoy him, I wear underwear that's too small or nothing at all. But I'll leave this guy for my sister. Sometimes I feel like I can't feel anything for anyone anymore. With every client, I have to wear a mask, you know, even with guys like you, and you know why. I sense it's not to get their hopes up, I replied seriously. And hurt them. Like I told you, good guys also come to my work, guys who wear perfume just for you. They say nice things and even want to marry you. But we have to be careful with that, it would be too good to be true. With you, that mask fell away, looking at me seriously. I want to be honest, I don't want any kind of relationship. I'm afraid of that, and I don't want to be consensual. This is super delicious. Forgive me if I eat so impolitely, I haven't eaten since morning. I watched her eat, and I felt that I wanted to, that I needed to watch over her. Arnie, I filled a void that had persisted. It would take time, but I would win her love. I shouldn't rush, or I'll ruin it. I'm not a rich kid, I can't offer her anything yet. And, aside from teaching a bunch of spoiled teenagers, what do you do in your free time? She asked after drinking a glass of soda. I read a lot about how to learn to write screenplays. I'm trying to learn to play the guitar. I've been saving up to buy a synthesizer, but I'm going to prioritize our wild encounter. Arnie smiled. Deep down, she wanted it, and to make good money at the same time. What are you writing? A love story between a gentleman and a stripper. I think that's been told before. It's more of a heartbreak story, with vampire overtones. I'm polishing it. I saw a video game console in your living room. Are you still playing that in your 40s? It's a different art form. If you came with me to my house, I'd invite you to play classic titles. There's one game that's a tragedy, it's an old game, but it's about a boy who sacrifices his soul to bring his beloved back to life. It sounds interesting. Most people play shooters and kill people, as long as you let me play and I don't just watch you. You'll finish the game and feel like a champion, I assure you. Another toast, she raised her glass, but full of Coca-Cola, to my Peruvian friend who has saved me from starvation twice, and now wants a cute girl like me to experience his gamer side. We both laughed, as she continued eating. I made a comment, which she took wonderfully. My birthday is in early October, I know it's a long time away, but by then I'll have saved enough for our night. She looked at me as she gobbled down a piece of chicken and washed it down with a sip of soda. Good things come to those who wait, my friend, shrugging her shoulders. You save what you can, I'll wait. I swear, you won't regret it, winking at me. I'll always be in touch. If you want, I'll visit you at work from time to time for a dance and a conversation, all paid for so I don't waste your time. And play something from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. I'd love some David Taveré. I'll let you know when it's available, and I'll ask them to play Tatu and Wham. They're on my playlist, and there's one I love, Greatest Day by Take That and Robin Schulz. Take That, where Robbie Williams was, I think it's wonderful. I'd dedicate a song from them that came out when I finished high school to you, Bad for Good, and from Williams, What You Are to Me, An Angel. Well, because of my lifestyle, I seem more like a demon, she laughed, trying not to choke.
We finished dinner, but stayed at the table. We laughed and shared anecdotes, like the time I was arrested on Halloween for dressing up as Sub-Zero with a friend. About a girl who stood me up at a dance and the next second was dancing with someone else. About her having to juggle to build her own pole so she could practice when she was caught doing erotic dances at school at 15, fooling around with some friends and asking some older boys for money. We finished dinner, but stayed at the table. We laughed and shared anecdotes, like the time I was arrested on Halloween for dressing up as Sub-Zero with a friend. About a girl who stood me up at a dance and the next second was dancing with someone else. About her having to juggle to build her own pole so she could practice when she was caught doing erotic dances at school at 15, fooling around with some friends and asking some older boys for money. I'll be back to work early. He hugged me and kissed me hard on the cheek. You saved my life again, buddy. I'll never forget it in a million years. See you later, and when you go there, don't forget this, stay away from Diamond. Although I can share you with Lulu, she's more of a sister than the one I have back, where I sleep. I'll let you know before I go every Friday. Forgive me if it's on the weekend, but you know, work. Good things always come to those who wait. Don't forget to save up for our wild night. Calling the taxi. See you, honey, getting into the vehicle. Wait! I exclaimed, hurrying to catch up with them before they took off. It's your birthday. I'll pay for your taxi. Happy birthday again. She didn't say anything, her moist eyes spoke volumes. She closed the window because it was very cold, and the taxi started moving. I returned home more than happy, but the idea of taking care of her, of loving her, bounced around in my head. I didn't believe in marriage, and I even mocked it, and I knew it was stupid to fall in love with an exotic dancer and escort, but Annie was more than that, she was a girl I could talk to for hours without getting tired. Months passed, and I had to make great sacrifices to make this date. I'd done it before, but the most I could afford was an hour and a half. This time I'd have a whole night to get to know Annie better. Besides saving up to be with her, I'd been doing a lot of research, way too much, about how to satisfy a woman intimately. I wanted to avoid being just another client, I wanted to impress her, for her to think about me all the time. I didn't mind her lifestyle, even if she danced naked in front of other men. I adored her personality, I loved watching her eat, watching her walk, watching her laugh. I haven't seen her sleep yet, I hope to soon. Hey, lovely, I called her, guess what? It took her a few seconds to answer, as the loud music made it hard to hear each other.
Hello, stranger, she said ironically, since she hadn't been to her workplace lately. Where have you been? I've saved $4,000. I chose the Comfort in Edgewater, it's beautiful, located next to the Hudson River. For a woman as special as you, and it also has a romantic view. I thought it was going to be the Hilton or the Continental. She paused, leaving me in suspense, until she resumed the conversation with a laugh, joining her friends. Love, just kidding, it's perfect. I've got a little get-together planned at the plaza for New Year's Eve, if you want. Oh, how nice. Like in Home Alone. That would be beyond awesome. A private party. Well, tomorrow is my birthday, although I'll move it to Friday, since, like you, I chose to work that day. What do you say? $1,500, love. It includes everything, even a dance, and we can have sex as many times as you want, however you want, wherever you want. My silence betrayed a bit of my anxiety and excitement. I have a feeling I left you very horny. If you fuck her tonight, do it in my name. Come Wednesday and I'll give you your gift. Believe me, you'll love it. A lump formed in my throat, and I stuttered, trying to answer. Okay, I'll be there Wednesday, but let's keep this between you and me. I don't like to make my birthday public, not even my colleagues at work know. I just want to get my gift and come back. You're not going anywhere, darling. When you're here, I'm going to kidnap you. We'll go to the bedroom and I'll give you a courtesy dance. It'll be on me, and by the way, my gift. Lulu has something for you, too. I could hear both of them laughing. I'll be there. See you. See you, Peruvian. Wednesday arrived. I arrived at the headquarters around 8 o'clock. Upon entering, I didn't see either Arnie or Lulu until the scent of yarrow and soft, small hands covered my eyes. Guess what? I'm a beautiful girl with very long black hair, a wide smile, Russian origins, a pair of exquisite tits, and a delicious ass that will make you dream. And you smell like a goddess, I replied, turning slowly. She lovingly leaned on me, and Lulu joined her. Suddenly, I found myself surrounded by 4 beautiful arms. Happy birthday, both in unison. Thank you, I responded excitedly. Come on, let's go get your present. This time, it's on the house. Arnie pulled me into her dance room. And with chewing gum, she did her job the way she knew how. She came up to my face and put some of that gum in my mouth. While she took off her thong, she leaned down to my left ear and whispered, "This is the preamble to what awaits us on Friday." After her dance, she folded her thong and put it in a gift box. This one's from Lulu too, joining it with hers. Don't get them covered in semen, her friend warned. They're stripper thongs, and very thin ones, not the panties of 2 streetwalkers. I laughed lightly. I'll keep them as treasures, don't worry. After a brief silence, I would never do that. I'm not a. Of course not, Arnie interrupted, in 2 days, you won't have to. We then chatted for an hour. Lulu had left us to serve other clients. I'll take this, Arnie mentioned, showing me the photo on her cell phone of a transparent, cone-shaped object with fuchsia jewels at its base. It's a plug. She laughed. You'll pay me well, and I'll give you first-class service, honey. I made her settle on my lap and stroked her long hair for the rest of the time. For a moment, I thought about asking her to be my girlfriend, saying that I would do my best to take care of her, but the noise of the place made me reconsider. I gave up the moment what I had told myself earlier came back to me, step by step. That night I slept ecstatic, with no desire to indulge myself, nor to breathe in the scent of her skimpy clothes. This was another level, something I'd never had before. A girl, a woman of flesh and blood for longer than an hour, sharing more than just sweat and saliva.
Thursday flew by, as did the entire Friday morning and afternoon. I took a bath, taking an hour, put on my best clothes and the patent leather shoes I wore to work, and the perfume Krasnaya Moskva or Moscow Rouge 1 point for that my landlady Lady Lena had given me for my birthday. I had bought a box of Durex, and at 7 p.m., I was heading to Arnie's house. She was so punctual that just as I reached the foot of her stairs, she was leaving her house, wearing pink latex pants, a short blouse that showed off her stomach, and her now customary brown trench coat. She approached and quickly took me by both hands.
The night is young, let's not waste time.
We took a taxi and headed to the Comfort in Edgewater. I had made a reservation in advance, a little over $600. I had to save up for a few things and properly entertain my guest. That would save me a lot of trouble. The arrival of night and the cold combined with my nerves. I was standing next to a stunning woman, something very unusual in my life. I placed in her hands an envelope containing the $1,500 fee for being with her. She took them and whispered to me, "Maybe I won't charge you anymore," which puzzled me.
I was joking. She laughed, immediately burying her face in my left arm.
We arrived at the hotel. I took out my cell phone and took a photo of Arnie by the river and another by the entrance. She posed like a magazine model, and when she finished, she threw herself at me, ready to check in. In the lobby, Arnie began to frolic and spin around the place, like a naughty little girl filled with ecstasy. I watched her, amazed. The movement of her hair, the closing of her eyes, and her beautiful figure were mesmerizing. "Sir, excuse me," the receptionist brought me out of my reverie. "Your room key card, you asked for one with a jacuzzi, it's all yours. If you need anything, call and we'll help you." "Thank you," I replied happily and very excitedly. I went to Arnie, grabbed her by the waist, and whispered, We have a jacuzzi. First we'll get naughty, then we'll have dinner. No, honey, she replied, staring at me, I'll have dinner first, and it's for you. She laughed, resting her head on my chest. Yes, and then?
All this will be yours, love. She anticipated my answer and placed my right hand on her left breast and my left hand on her right buttock.
We entered a beautifully lit hallway. 15 meters away was our suite. I took Annie in my arms and carried her like someone carrying their newlywed wife. Annie took it in the best possible way. It was a fantasy, anyway. I had bought a fantasy, although its scent of perfume, aromatic soap, and shampoo told me otherwise. I placed the card in the slot. The door opened, and I entered, carrying my beloved in my arms, moving her around the room. The bed was very spacious, and the jacuzzi was located to its left, high above 2 blocks of white marble. I sat down on the bed. Annie did the same. Before starting, I wanted to clarify something with her. Annie, looking her in the eyes, I want you to know that I don't care what I'm spending for this date, it's too low for the fortune of having you with me. I know you told me I shouldn't fall in love with you, and the last thing I want is to make you feel uncomfortable. I want us to have a good time and do it again if you want, and that you have a friend in me, a friend who will protect you as much as possible.
She looked at me with a look of sadness and seriousness between them. We've been friends since you satisfied my hunger that Sunday morning. We've been friends since you were one of the few who greeted me on my birthday, even my parents forgot. My sister, more out of obligation. Since you played that beautiful song while I was dancing with you, she got on top of me, placing her hands on my face. So, my friend, we didn't come here to talk about our friendship, but to fuck like savages. You'll make Mandy muse, or Remy LaCroix look worse, I said while caressing her waist. She looked at me with a look of sadness and seriousness between them. We've been friends since you satisfied my hunger that Sunday morning. We've been friends since you were one of the few who greeted me on my birthday, even my parents forgot. My sister, more out of obligation. Since you played that beautiful song while I was dancing with you, she got on top of me, placing her hands on my face. So, my friend, we didn't come here to talk about our friendship, but to fuck like savages. You'll make Mandy muse, or Remy LaCroix look worse, I said while caressing her waist. And you, Nacho Vidal, stroking my hair. But enough talking. First, I'll dance for you, love. She retreated to the bathroom carrying a large bag. When she returned, she had let her long hair down, was wearing a plaid skirt and a blouse that barely covered anything. She took out a small buffer, turned it on, and began dancing to Alex Gaudino's I'm in Love, I Wanna Do It. She was very explicit, bearing everything in a very tiny red garment. I was mesmerized. Her flexibility, grace, and sensuality made the $4,000 I spent on this adventure seem more like an investment now. An investment in my physical and mental health. Then she gave me another dance, a more daring one, with Be Kind by Marshmello and Halsey in the background. In a more unbridled way, she took off everything, looked at me, and got on top of me. I know you guys don't kiss, I whispered, staring at her. But I'd like to. You have a perfect mouth, I can pay you as an extra. Annie didn't answer, she just leaned closer and kissed me very intensely. I cooperated by transforming that kiss into a French kiss, which she responded very well. While we kissed, she removed my clothes, leaving my underwear last. I laid her down on the bed and returned the favor she had done me earlier. I took my time since the night was long. She let me know that my performance was top-notch. Well, I had prepared myself all these months. I wanted to satisfy her more than just receive her attentions. She showed me she was doing it wonderfully with contortions of pleasure, loud moans, and almost crushing my head between her thighs. Then I placed her in a position that offered me a great show, with her belly on the bed, looking at me, always smiling. Okay, honey, show off. I started by kissing the tattoos on her thighs and moved up to her buttocks and the middle of them. I hoped they wouldn't charge us for the sheets, since it seemed she was about to tear them off, due to the intensity of the moment. After an intense struggle, with her on top of me, me behind her, the one with the number that seems to form the symbol of cancer, we reached a climax. I made sure she finished first, which she did. Drenched in sweat, we rested. She started laughing and then lay on top of me. Honey, I think you went crazy and almost made me die. And you were wonderful, you smelled delicious, your whole body. Yes, even that part that only porn actresses show off so proudly. Look, ask for the champagne and something to eat, and I'll get ready for the main course, the forbidden one. She went to her bag and took out that transparent cone, her plug, only on the side opposite the tip it had a long, fox-like tail. I'll be your slut, darling, she approached provocatively. So, put it in gently, here. She threw me a small bottle of Sen Intimate, which I smeared on the plug. It was a naughty moment when she came. She helped me insert it, but we always stopped when laughter overcame us. I kissed her bottom while she frantically moved it like a dancer of the 7 veils. I picked up the room phone and ordered service, calculating to stay within budget. I opted for a sparkling wine, an Oratoire Saint Pierre Brut, and seafood. Annie quickly regained her energy. Let's wait while they bring it with number 69. You did very well, I swear you made me come twice. That's true, I said, laughing, and I didn't bother washing my mouth out. It must taste great, she opined playfully. Yes, her laughter increasing. Okay, love, let's get started. The food and sparkling wine arrived 5 minutes later. She took it since it was easier for her to get out of bed. She gave the waiter a $20 tip. Annie hadn't even bothered to get dressed. For your discretion. She climbed on top of me again. Drenched in sweat, we headed to the shower, as we planned to eat in the jacuzzi. There were 3 types of soap on the shelves and 2 types of shampoo. We soaped each other. She turned her back to me, and I asked her to close her eyes so I could apply the shampoo. The soap slid down her body to her feet, and her skin shone exquisitely. She turned her gaze to me. Honey, my ass isn't just there for you to look at. Take out the plug, but, with your mouth. I did as she asked and received the main course from her. She wasn't lying when she told me I gave her orgasms, because during sex, she burned me to the point of wanting to break my bones. She even scratched me. I didn't say anything about it, as I was so happy that she enjoyed all of this. It was divine, sublime to be with her. We got out of the shower and submerged ourselves in the jacuzzi. We had previously pulled the food cart closer, placing the trays nearby. We ate the octopus, squid, and crab they brought us, along with the sparkling wine. I didn't know what to say, the intensity of the moment was priceless. There were no words to describe how wonderful it was to be with her. You're incredible, Annie, I managed to say. You too, she replied, staring at me. Very few people know my real name. I only tell it to people I'm really close to. Anora McHeaver, that's my real name. Annie is a mask, but like I told you, you made that mask fall. But don't worry, I'm not compromising you, I'm just returning the favor you did me. You treated me like a person, a woman, something real. And I share my real name with you, but yes, you're one of the very few who will know it. And by the way, because of the tremendous orgasms you made me have, to tell you the truth, I've never had one from anyone else, only the ones I made myself. I'm glad about that, I replied with satisfaction. Every woman deserves them. Yes, but if I'm unconscious or die of cardiac arrest, you'll be in serious trouble, even though it would be a beautiful way to die. Yes, I added thoughtfully. Like that Cutting Crew song. Yes, and she began to sing I Just Died in Your Arms, which she knew by heart. I love this song, it's on my playlist. We finished the meal, emptied the bottle of bubbly, and she suggested another sit-down, which eventually multiplied to 3, and the last one was in the shower again, since we didn't want to go to sleep drenched in sweat. The meal recharged me, the night is still going on.
I had all her fragrance in my senses, her smell, her taste, everything. It was already very late, and it was very cold outside, even more so if you were near the river. She hugged me all night, filling my face with her long hair, and I didn't want to sleep because I loved hearing her breathe, I adored it. I woke up. On my Casio clock, made of durable, waterproof plastic, it was 5 a.m. She and I had our mambo dance until very late. It was precisely 3 a.m. I took another shower, with cold water, got dressed, and stayed up watching her sleep. As I'd said, her breathing was music to my ears. I played Robbie Williams' Angel at a low volume, which perfectly matched the black waterfall of her beautiful jet black hair spilling down her delicate back. I had a few dollars left, just enough for breakfast and to return home. It would have been wonderful to have breakfast on the terrace, but the cold weather prevented us from doing so. Summer was still a long way off. It was 7:30 a.m. While listening to Starship's It's Not Enough, I called for the last room service, breakfast. I lip-synced the song as it was brought to us. Annie started to wake up, saw my performance, and, still sleepy-eyed, smiled. She stood up, naked, and began to join me in my show as she headed to the shower. There was a knock on the door and breakfast arrived. I thanked her and, upon examining what they'd brought us, realized that she would like most of it more than I did, since she hated cheese and plain milk, as well as butter. I'd stick to the pancakes and orange juice. She came out in a robe. I pulled out a chair for her to sit on, and served her breakfast, to her surprise, like a true English waiter in a fancy restaurant. "More juice, my lady." I pushed the jug toward her. As she laughed, she nearly choked on some toast and jam she'd eaten. A minute later, when she'd stopped coughing, she was able to laugh more comfortably.
"I'm supposed to be serving you, not you serving me. Your attention exceeded my expectations." Looking into her eyes, "Annie, I'm not exaggerating or anything. This was the best night of my entire life, and you were the best thing that's ever happened to me in this city. I know I shouldn't fall in love with you, but I want you to know that you're very important." You too," she interrupted. "Well, eat before your pancakes get cold."
She continued devouring everything I didn't want. I had finished earlier. As I continued with breakfast, another song came to mind, inspired by what I felt for her and what we had experienced. I turned up Love Touched by Rod Stewart, grabbed a pen from a desk to act as a microphone, and mimed the song. I put on a show for her again, which she enjoyed, even leaving her breakfast to join me in a very provocative way. Now I was Rod Stewart, and Annie was the backup singer, a very sensual one. We sang, moving all over the room. Annie showed me how skilled she was at dancing, and not just on the pole. It was 8:30 in the morning, and we had to leave the room an hour and a half later. We lay down next to each other, her spreading her long hair over the sheets and my chest.
"I think we broke with a tradition." "Which one?" "Don't tell me." "No," she interrupted, holding back the urge to laugh. "I'm really tired, and we don't have much time left. Besides, it was for one night, and the night was already over." I agreed with her. We fucked several times. I think I'd lost count. I mean, smoking to relax after a good time. But I know you don't do that. Besides constantly complimenting me on my smell, it was turning me on. We both laughed. She lay on top of me, covering me with her hair and filling me with the scent of jasmine and lilies. "You fuck very well," she suddenly mentioned. "Where did you learn?" "I'm 41, I replied, sighing and with a concealed air of superiority. "Experience, but, believe it or not, very little. My limited finances don't allow me the luxury of, let's say, fine skin so often." "Have you really never had a girlfriend? Did no girl really pay attention to you?" She incredulously looked into my eyes. "I never looked like a hunk," I replied, looking deep into her beautiful black eyes. "My brother did, and from a very young age. I was very immature, to the point of being an idiot. The years taught me, rejection, loneliness, and suffering shaped my mind, along with certain people I was with for a fee, and, let's say, a little porn. Let's just say porn has been my thing too. I've had clients, but few or almost no lovers. I'll correct myself, I think you're the first." I remember 2012, sighing nostalgically. I couldn't get a job, and I found a call for a porn casting, earning me a hearty laugh that I passed on to her. But it was all a scam, and besides, I lived very far from where it was made. "I couldn't have been your scene partner," Annie mentioned, resting her head on my chest due to laughter. I was 13, even though I was taking my first steps to being a stripper, continuing to laugh and increasing it so much that she hit the bed, shrinking back. "You would have eaten a lot of ass, like you ate mine today," looking me in the eyes and then resting her head on my chest. "And then, maybe a lot of diseases, getting serious. Not if you do it like we did today, although, I wish someday I could do it without a condom. Maybe someday we'll do it that way." I froze, as it indicated a desire for commitment, which made me shiver a little. She noticed and started laughing again. I joined her in her hilarity. Calming down now, I told her more about myself. I'm a language major. And, man, what a specialist you are, she interrupted flirtatiously. Yes, I mentioned, holding back my laughter, a laughter that eventually took over and ended up infecting her. It allows me to gain some knowledge of how to write. I'm taking scriptwriting classes too, and I have a lot of ideas. I wanted to be a dancer. I've partially succeeded. At least I have an audience. Sure, mostly men who pay to see me almost naked and put my tits and ass right in their faces, rubbing against them as if I were fucking them. It's not glamorous, but it's better than the street. If no production company accepts my ideas, I'll have to go directly to the public, YouTube, other social media. I know that even 1 million views wouldn't even buy you a taxi, but hey, at least we can get some attention. If you like to dance, you can create your own style of pole dancing and gain popularity. Not money, though, because you'd have to use copyrighted music, but... Sorry, that's silly. No, it isn't, honey, but I need my own space. With the money you gave me, I'm almost ready for an apartment, a smaller one, but for myself. I'm coming up with so many ideas. You have to own your time. I know working at headquarters is very tiring, sometimes you shouldn't even be able to breathe. Yes, but it's better than nothing, love, getting out of bed since we had 5 minutes left. I don't consider what I spent on this date that much. Being with you was the best thing that ever happened to me, Ani. I thank God I found you. Don't forget, darling, no falling in love, or you'll get hurt. She gave me a deep kiss. If I kiss you, it's because you've earned it. As we made the bed, she expressed curiosity about the ideas I had shared with her. Tell me your ideas, she arranged her hair. Maybe I can give you some ideas. A story of heartbreak, between a vampire and his human wife. Ani looked surprised, as if my intention to narrate was grotesque. Also, some kind of spin-off of an 80s anime, I mean, if you think that's only for boys. Not Dragon Ball. As a kid, they punished me by taking me to a matinee to see that shit. It seemed like another involution. Do you like anime? I asked with a corrosive curiosity. What did you manage to watch? It's very difficult here in this country. Saint Seiya, Cobra, the one I already mentioned, The Rose of Versailles, which I love, Urotsukidoji, she laughed dash, and many more since I was 10 years old, at a school friend's house. He was Mexican, and his material was pirated, and best of all, uncensored. Secretly, of course, you know what the parents of prudes, I added. Let's make a deal, friend, she said. You right, I'll do my best to dance. Also, I'll do my best to quit smoking, what do you think? And I'll avoid drinking soda. Saint Seiya, Cobra, the one I already mentioned, The Rose of Versailles, which I love, Urotsukidoji, she laughed dash, and many more since I was 10 years old, at a school friend's house. He was Mexican, and his material was pirated, and best of all, uncensored. Secretly, of course, you know what the parents of prudes, I added. Let's make a deal, friend, she said. You right, I'll do my best to dance. Also, I'll do my best to quit smoking, what do you think? And I'll avoid drinking soda.
We laughed for a few seconds, looking at each other. We tidied up and cleaned what was left, the bathroom, the table where we ate. We left the room, her holding me, even though the contract had already ended. We were no longer lovers, but we decided to be friends, or rather, close servant and client. As we left the hotel, we noticed a cloudy sky, but with some holes where sunlight filtered through. I took out my cell phone and played one of her favorite songs, Greatest Day by Take That and Calum Scott. She was so happy I played that song that she started dancing in the middle of the street. It made perfect sense, it was our big night, now it will be our big day. Especially for me. She approached me and forced me to dance, very close to the Hudson River, while people watched us, she didn't care at all. We danced non-stop until we reached a place where we hoped to hail a taxi. I don't know if I'll be able to do it again tonight, I'd love to, I'd bleed profusely, but she was worth it. Seeing her so happy, well, aside from the profit she made me look at her with longing. I remembered my adolescence, my 20s, when I was more innocent, when I was like her. They'll say a lot of bad things about them, but damn it, if you let them open their hearts, they can be the most wonderful people on earth. You left an indelible mark on me, Annie, to the point of hurting me, but in a beautiful way. Seeing her moved me to the point of blurring my eyes with tears. It was her beauty, her innocence, that awakened the most intense tenderness in me.
Okay, honey, she said, approaching and taking my hands. I think our contract is up.
I sighed, her words bringing me back to reality. But our friendship, never. She touched my chin as if I were a child. Please always text me on WhatsApp, and if you have any other plans, let me know, okay? I have plans for Christmas. How about a private party at the plaza, or maybe dinner? That reminds me of Home Alone 2, that would be fun. I also know a good karaoke place, where I can throw a great New Year's party. We can ring in the last year of the decade singing. In fact, I'm going to take a class on it. Do you know what song I'd like to dedicate to you?
I just died in your arms tonight. It must have been something you said.
She sang, putting on a very flirtatious face. You'll kill me with that, baby. Come see me sometime, I mentioned nervously. I wanted to suggest something silly, but she got in first. Watch a movie, or play on that console you had in your living room. It's a bit complicated, love, but save it for another night, the game night, but no, you know what, I'll charge you much less. That would be great. We could play Shadow of the Colossus. It's not a macho thing with violence and all that, it's a story of love and sacrifice. You'll love it. As long as you don't hog the controller, and have something delicious to eat, she smiled broadly. I remember the first time I played was when I was 7 years old on my cousin's Dendy. It was old and outdated, but it was fun. Look, here comes my taxi. Joe the taxi driver, I mentioned, smiling. He knows all the streets by heart. The music he plays is rumba. See you, Peruvian.
Увидимся позже.
I said goodbye in a broken Russian, since I had to contact my landlady. She reached out of the taxi window to say goodbye. It had been an intense night. I think we both burned a lot of calories, and the research I'd done to perform well with Annie helped a lot. I thanked God I had it. It will ensure she never forgets me, and by the way, it will be impossible to forget her. It was a great night, the first in my 41 years, and one I'm sure will be hard to repeat. November arrived, a month that slipped by quickly. December forced us to take down the Christmas decorations. I had saved enough for another date. I had bought a very old but perfectly functional motorcycle on credit. It was from the 1950s, very well preserved, with a sidecar. I took it to my rented house and parked it in the yard. I had painted it petrol green in a camouflage style. Lady Lena allowed me to have it as long as I took her daughter, Elena, to high school. Her other children had a car, but because they used it for work and left early, they couldn't take her. Dennis, her oldest son, made fun of my light, used vehicle. According to him, a car attracts girls more. Maybe it was corny, but I always loved Christmas carols around this time, especially those in my native language, Spanish. The oldies, which I would have liked to share with Annie, but realizing that the teenage Elena was indifferent to them, and that she didn't understand my native language, I decided to listen to them only then. Like a harbinger of what was to come this Christmas of 2018. Bumblebee was premiering in theaters. I decided to see it along with Aquaman on the 22nd. Since my landlady and her family always went on a trip to visit relatives during the holidays, I decided to see if Annie would spare a few hours and invite her to watch them. I chose the 20th to anticipate any inconvenience or impossibility that might arise. I called Annie to let her know about our private party at the plaza. Hi, gorgeous, excited to see her again, since I hadn't seen her in weeks.
Hi, Ghost, where were you? Why didn't you come visit me again? Dances are half price for the holidays. I've been busy. Look, maybe you have time to go to the movies. They're releasing. Honey, You know how it is. I told you, they won't let us go out, and it's going to cost you dearly for more than 3 hours. It was $1,500 for one night, I replied, laughing ironically, because I figured I could pay to take her out for 6 or 7 hours, which is less than the 14 hours I spent with her, 8 of which were spent fucking. I can pay you for 7 hours. It'll be fun. There are 2 movies coming out that you might really like, Aquaman with Jason Momoa and... Dude, she interrupted, I'll be honest with you. We have some clients here who will give us good money. You know, I want to move me out of the apartment. You gave me good money, but it was over 2 months ago, and I don't think I'll have enough. Okay, I replied, resigned. The story of my life, but at least we'll have our little Christmas party at the plaza. Honey, please forgive me. It's better if you cancel it, and the New Year's party too. Look, I'll be honest with you. This client is very rich. Plus, he invited Lulu and me to his New Year's party. This is business, love. You know I value you very much, but I have to look after my financial security. It's better not to spend too much. Use that money to buy what you need. You must have a lot of girls around, colleagues from your work who will want you to invite them. You wouldn't spend much with them. I have to go, sorry. You can come back after New Year's so we can talk.
I had to swallow down a huge frustration and disappointment. Goodbye to our karaoke session, to watching a Christmas movie, to the cinema and enjoying laughter and excitement among a crowd and the darkness. Okay, baby, I can handle it. New York is big, I can. Of course not, it takes time, and I'm not up for hasty, unrealizable conquests. Well, I came into the world alone, and I'll have to go alone. The 22nd arrived, I went to the cinema, saw the movies I had planned, enjoyed them immensely, and returned home. It was cold, very cold this time of year. I would have liked to wrap up warm with Annie, whom from now on I'll call by her real name, Anora, who for now only brings me darkness, and her name doesn't mean anything. But, through blows and disappointments, one learns. She told me herself, and so did Lulu, never fall in love with women like us. The 22nd arrived, I went to the cinema, saw the movies I had planned, enjoyed them immensely, and returned home. It was cold, very cold this time of year. I would have liked to wrap up warm with Annie, whom from now on I'll call by her real name, Anora, who for now only brings me darkness, and her name doesn't mean anything. But, through blows and disappointments, one learns. She told me herself, and so did Lulu, never fall in love with women like us. The 23rd arrived, another workday, although since I got my motorcycle, I no longer depend on taxis, the bus, or even the subway, only on not getting hit by some reckless driver. I played a little, read some Dickens, and of course, my usual movies. Die Hard and its exquisite violence restored my masculinity, as did Lethal Weapon. Until, from my home, more than 5,000 kilometers southwest, a call came my way. I noticed it was my mom, and I was glad it was her. I certainly wasn't expecting Anora, or Lulu, especially not the latter. Lulu was always somewhat distant, I don't think she ever wore the thong she gave me. I answered and noticed her voice was trembling, she was crying on the other end. Then she dropped a bombshell, one that, apparently, because I was so alone, would only affect me. My brother had suffered a very serious accident and was in the hospital in Tarapoto. If the nighttime temperature dropped below 0, my body temperature at that time was almost at absolute 0. When I said goodbye to my mom, I felt an overwhelming powerlessness wash over me, a chill and terror that gripped my soul. I didn't know what to do, and I started pacing around. Desperation overwhelmed me. I wanted to grab my phone and call my principal to explain the situation and request some time off so I could see my brother, but after a while my mom called again. Dad was with my brother, accompanying him, along with my sister-in-law. He was out of danger now, but he had to rest for the holidays.
Son, save your money, you don't have to come anymore.
She explained to me. When we said goodbye, I sat down on the cold floor, hugged myself, and, trembling, thanked God and began to cry bitterly. I think I made a great exchange that time, my Christmas dinner at the plaza and my New Year's karaoke night with Anora, in exchange for my brother's life. From that day on, I became hypersensitive, but most of the time I always chose to swallow my tears, rather than show weakness. Christmas came, and I was the only one in the house. My landlady, along with all her children, had gone to Chicago to spend Christmas and New Year's. I sat in front of the tree watching my beloved movies, laughing and crying alone. I wasn't even hungry. I even went to bed early while the others celebrated. At least the fact that my brother was out of danger and without any after effects, I considered it a gift, the best Santa could have given me. I woke up at 7 o'clock in the morning and got dressed for a run. Everyone was drowsy from the cold outside, and children were opening their presents. I didn't want to stop by Anora's house. To be honest, I didn't want to see her, not out of resentment that she'd had a good time while I was mired in a moment of deep depression. I didn't want to ruin her Christmas with my problems. They're mine. No one has to ruin their big day because of me. So I sent her a text wishing her a Merry Christmas, but I kept the pain I was going through to myself. I decided to swallow my tears. I focused on work, on saving up after buying a cheap guitar, a Yamaha Pacifica, along with a synthesizer of the same brand. I focused on practicing. It was my 3-hour routine after work, very difficult, since I'd never played an instrument before. December 31st arrived. It was 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I passed by her house. There was no sign of Anora. I turned around to continue, and suddenly, behind me, she was there, surprising me and leaving me speechless.
Please forgive me. I've ignored you all week. I got your message. I was really busy, that's why I didn't answer. Deep down, I wanted to complain to her for leaving me alone. My Christmas was ruined, and I spent it like any other bitter day. You were probably screwing a rich guy in his limo, someone who could pay you out of his pocket change for a whole year, but who would only see you as another inflatable doll who, when he got tired, would discard you, leaving you lying on the street, or, if you were really unlucky, head first in a dumpster with vermin feasting on your corpse. But at 41, I couldn't express myself that way anymore. I was no longer a whiny, crazed 20-something. So, along with my tears for the near loss of my brother, I also swallowed my anger. Well, Anora, with the calm of a wise man who's lived twice as long as her, I can't blame you. You had to work, and I'm not one to impose on you. It's a very tough business, I know. I felt like confessing my tragedy to her, but, containing my sadness and frustration, I decided to keep quiet. It's obvious you'll also be working on New Year's, I mentioned, hiding my sarcasm. This business doesn't stop, I understand. Look, I'll make it up to you, I promise. My client invited Lulu and me to his New Year's party at his mansion in Brooklyn. I'll tell him to add you to his guest list. I internalized it again, and my younger, more immature self silently surfaced. I don't want to see you get screwed, even though you do this for a living. No thanks, I'll go for a ride on my motorcycle. I want to welcome 2019 in Times Square. Have fun with Lulu. I mean, sorry, it'll be work. I'm just going along, dude. I don't mix business with pleasure. Besides, he's a kid, I think younger than me. He likes war video games, and to be honest, he's terrible at fucking. I had to fake it every time I fucked him. With you, that was impossible. She knew how to disarm me, or rather, convince me. At 41, I'm still easily manipulated. Until I got hit with a truly painful blow. I laughed so hard I could get over the pain of my brother's accident. Look, I'll tell you later, okay? I don't want to ruin your night. It'll be work, but I still want you to spend it at least with nice people and dancing. It won't be the same if I don't dance with you, but, you know, you're right, I'll be busy waiting. Although then I think everyone will be so drunk that maybe my pussy will get a rest tonight. We both laughed. I loved her smile, I loved her big eyes. Then we'll have a moment for the two of us. Please go and enjoy the night, working of course. Okay, but please don't disappear. Take lots of pictures of Times Square and share them with me. Merry Christmas, darling, even if it's late. Say hello later, though on WhatsApp for New Year's.
We hugged for 2 full seconds. Her hair didn't smell like shampoo, but it smelled good, like her natural fragrance. She went upstairs. I walked away. I did what I said. It was 11:55 at night. I was in front of the building next to a large crowd. The count ended and I walked away from the people celebrating. I hadn't brought my motorcycle, so I decided to walk a lot until dawn. I sat around playing games all day, watching movies and listening to music from when I was a teenager, a child, and before I was even born. I ended the first day of 2019 listening to Break On Through to the Other Side by The Doors, In the End by Linkin Park, and Whisper by Evanescence. A week later, I decided to visit the headquarters club after a long delay. I had a good amount of money to invite her to Boho Karaoke Orchard at 152 Orchard Street. I had rehearsed the song I'd proposed for several hours, and just in case things went wrong, a farewell song, the one I rehearsed more if my situation materialized. I parked my motorcycle outside the building, grabbed my red Yamaha electric guitar wrapped in its case, and went in. To my surprise, the person who greeted me wasn't someone with big eyes and gorgeous black hair, but rather someone with red hair, lively eyes, and a mocking smile. She was a few inches taller than Anora.
"Are you looking for Arnie, darling?" she said, remaining serious. "Come on, let's talk. I'm on my break, but buy me a drink. Just for a moment. You know I'm here for her. It's not that I'm rejecting you, it's just that I know her better." I followed her to the same sofa she shared with Anora, back when I used to call her Arnie. The girl went to the bar for 2 drinks. My intuition was warning me, nagging at me. Something I probably wasn't going to like had surely happened. "Hello," I suddenly heard another voice. This one was familiar. Lulu. "Lulu. Hello. How are you? Have you seen Anora, Arnie? Please don't go, I'll order another drink for you." "Sure, thank you," she agreed. I noticed an obvious seriousness in her gaze, as if she wanted to confess something to me, but she didn't have the words to do so. The red-headed girl returned, bringing a whiskey for herself and a Coca-Cola for me. Her presence made Lulu stand up and leave, which disconcerted me. "Lulu, please don't go. She's, by the way, I don't know about you." "Diamond, darling," the red-headed girl replied in a firm and strong voice. Then I remembered what Anora told me, that they didn't get along. "Will you tell her or will you let me?" the red-headed Diamond declared. "I'd rather you did it. I wouldn't be so picky about your friend." Lulu didn't answer, she just walked away. "Okay, I'll do it. Honey, I know you spent a night with her. A guy probably half your age spent a whole week with your dear Arnie. He fucked her more times than you." Instead of getting angry, I remembered what Anora had mentioned about that young Russian man. "I'd prefer quality over quantity," I replied with concealed pride. "And it's work. I have no reason to be jealous. Besides, Anora and I are friends. I have no right to blame her for anything." My mind returned to the times I made Anora writhe in bed, the times she arched her body and drenched my face with her squirt, which, not to boast, made me feel proud and certain they were real. "She may be young and have a lot of money, but I think Anora is too much for that rich kid," I pointed out firmly. "Look, Diamond, I know you and Anora don't get along, but that's a matter between you. I have great respect for her, and in fact, I've come to respect you both, even though I only know her and Lulu." She looked at me, her expression somewhere between pity and malice. "I'm sorry to tell you that you won't be able to have sex with her again, and because of the decision she made, she forgot that you were better at it and opted for someone who did it wrong, but more often." My intuition knew something wasn't right. I feared for Anora now. I knew about the reputation of certain people from Eastern Europe and Asia, and their habit of using women as livestock, and even as toilets. I was afraid she had ended up in those people's clutches. Although I doubt this happiness will last, it happens to all of us. "Your beloved Arnie just married him," she said the last part with simulated sadness. "But don't worry. I told her I'd be back in 2 weeks. She's such an idiot that she thinks she's going to live a fairy tale," laughing. "Since I was a little girl, I've dreamed of a Disney princess-themed honeymoon, with a marked mockery at the end. Don't worry, she'll come back and you can fuck with her again. I froze, though with mixed feelings, frustration, sadness, some anger, and a little, but very little joy. I felt disappointed for a moment, but mostly for myself. I had to admit it. I was nothing to her. I came to this place rarely, since I don't have much money. I was able to pay for the night I spent with her after 5 months of saving. My house is small, and the things I have are either second-hand or cheap. Thinking about it, I should be happy for her. You know, Diamond. At 41 years old, I've learned that a real man must know how to lose and let go. I'm happy for Anora. Give me a moment. I went to the bar for a bottle of champagne. The dim lighting helped hide the thick tears falling from my eyes. Anora was an innocent girl. The fact that she wanted a Disney princess-themed honeymoon touched me deeply. I leaned against a column, and, without anyone noticing, because of the loud music, I began to sniffle. A few seconds later, after calming down, I went to the bar and bought the bottle. Even though it was cheap and not a Dom Perignon, I'd do what I had to do. I uncorked it and asked Diamond to call the girls who were closest to Anora. Dude, don't be pathetic. Seriously, are you going to get drunk for that bitch? I just want to toast her, then I'll go, I replied with the calmness I had to muster. It's okay, anyway, this isn't the first time someone's heart has been broken in such a place. She returned with 4 girls, including Lulu. Please, I asked, wiping away my tears, I'd like some drinks, if it's not too much to ask. A brunette girl offered to pick them up. Seeing my expression, the strippers looked at me with maternal pity. One of them, Asian-looking, approached me and wiped my tears with her hands. Love, calm down, it's temporary. You'll meet others, you have plenty to choose from here. And may they keep breaking your heart, Diamond mocked. Dude, believe me, it's the best thing that could have happened to you. Your dear Annie is very immature, and apparently, you're too much for her. Let her deal with a kid just like her. I was surprised that Lulu didn't defend her friend. The girl came over with the drinks. I filled all 6, including mine. The DJ had apparently noticed my situation, and either jokingly or casually, played Best of You by Foo Fighters. In the excitement of the moment, I let out everything I was holding in my heart. Well, Annie, I spent a few moments with you, but they were worth gold. And thanks to his gold, he'll spend many more moments with her, Diamond mocked again. Excuse me, friend, a joke at your expense. That night was incredible, I'll never forget it. And now you'll spend many more with him, he apologized. I'm sorry. I have to let you go, Anora. He'll be back, friend, in 2 weeks, don't forget. The other girls got annoyed, asking me to be quiet. Here's to you. My mind went blank. I didn't know how to vent in silence. We all drank, and once the toast was over, I quickly left the place. Without looking at anyone and hiding my embarrassment. Yes, if my family in Peru found out I fell madly in love with a stripper and escort, they would surely take it as a failure and not a triumph. What it would be like if the girl were a high-level professional, or someone decent. To top it all off, DJ played Lift Me Up by Moby, a song I would have loved to dance with her on New Year's party. Well, she did dance to Mambo, though not with me. Thanks for the champagne. I heard Diamond shout. She's coming back, dude, they all do. Outside, with my guitar in tow, I hated myself for having walked down that street. I leaned against the wall, tears streaming from my eyes. Lulu suddenly appeared, just to rub salt in my wound. Annie warned you, dude, even I did. You have to understand, in the end, we're more looking for survival than love. I know Annie well, she caught a millionaire guy, more to get out of this environment. I saw the guy as a good host, kind, cheerful, but somewhat idiotic. I think the results of this situation already gave you the answers you wanted. I hated that they played Masterboy's Land of Dreaming. It brought back beautiful memories and contrasted with the dire moment I was going through. Survival, I remarked. I understand that this job is routine, as if you were machines. I'm sorry, honey, but we have to behave like machines, or we won't pay the rent, or we won't eat. Arnie did it to survive. Admit it, you had nothing to give her. To me, you're not machines, I replied, coming out of my sadness, not to me. You're people, important people to men like me. Not all of us can find the ideal partner, and maintaining a relationship is more of a complication than something that resembles a love story. You may give us fake love, but your warmth, scent, taste, your attention, your voice, your breath, they're not fake. Like a porn actor's ejaculations, you can't fake certain things. You did something forbidden with Arnie, my friend, and you scared her. She told me. You must have been, let's say, a bad or average lover. It complicates our work. We don't want to feel affinity for just one client, and you're not the type to bring in a lot of dollars. You don't come around that often. That guy, what was his name? Yes, I remember, Vonya Zakharov, but we called him Ivan. He was a client we could prioritize. Look, I'm sorry, but it's just business.
I hope that Ivan isn't a total trollazo, although I doubt he's a Drago, laughing to myself. You know what, Lulu? I had a shitty Christmas, and a shitty New Year's too. My brother in Peru almost died in an accident. During all the holidays, I was incredibly stressed and totally alone. I wanted to see Arnie, even you, but in the end, I didn't tell them about my situation so as not to ruin their fun. I don't care if Arnie married that millionaire kid, what matters is that we're supposed to be friends. I never paid attention to what you said about you, I'm no one to judge you. I squatted down, holding my head behind my neck. Lulu came over, stroked my hair, and got down to my level, hugging me in apology and thanks. What you said was very nice, although you weren't the only one, but yes, men like you are very rare. That's why falling in love is forbidden, not by our boss, but by ourselves. If you want something, a dance? I don't think you're in the mood for that, but at least someone to talk to. Look, let's talk, it's my break time. There's a karaoke bar at 152, Orchard Street, please join Main. I need to let out my frustrations, and the best way is with a song. I brought this guitar, because I've rehearsed a lot, and a solo helps as therapy.
Come on then, I'll get my coat.
In 2 minutes, Lulu returned. I led her to my motorcycle, she settled into the sidecar, and we headed to Boho Karaoke Orchard. Upon arrival, we found a large crowd, mostly women. We sat near the stage. A couple was singing Everywhere by Fleetwood Mac, not very well. A waitress approached us, who looked very similar to Arnie, except with shorter black hair.
Good evening, what are you going to serve? I didn't even want to look at her. A drop of misogyny and resentment had touched me. Just mineral water, I ordered, and for the lady. Same here. I have an hour, buddy, don't rush it, my companion indicated. Okay, it'll just be one song. There are a lot of girls here, they'll be very touched by the lyrics. What are you going to sing? Something to say goodbye to love, but without wishing anyone ill, but it will certainly lower the ego of any female. Arnie, she's not the only girl in the world. What attracted you to her?
I love watching her, when she eats, when she sleeps, when she's laughing or sad, she gets angry, although she never did it with me, well, just a cry for disappearing for a long time. I don't know how to explain it. But if I've lost her, I'll learn to live with the pain. You get used to it, like you, I'll become a machine.
Forgive Diamond. She's been through this, and that's why she doesn't think Arnie's marriage will last. It was mid-2017. A very nice guy, with a lot of money, arrived at headquarters. He was very kind and generous with the girls. He noticed Diamond. He was truly like an angel, and he charmed her. He was also very old, at least 70, but good-looking. He took Diamond to Europe, and... Let me guess, I said dryly, he abandoned her there and had to do unspeakable things to get back. No, he wasn't in exactly the best of health, she told us everything. He lived in Italy and had been a widower for 30 years. He died after one night with her, apparently of a heart attack, leaving her at the mercy of a very intolerant family. She has a strong character, and refused to let those people humiliate her. She barely made it back. She fucked with one of the man's relatives to get the money for her return ticket. They discovered her and dragged her out of the mansion, and on top of that, they threw the money in her face. Arnie is my best friend, but she's no saint. When Diamond returned, he mocked her by imitating an old man. He showed no compassion for her disappointment. This made her very distrustful and sarcastic.
His story touched me, and I was slightly afraid for Arnie. I didn't wish anything bad on her, or any of her co-workers. I hoped karma wouldn't catch up with her. At least she was now the wife of that rich guy and the owner of half his property. My respects to you girls. What other stories could you tell? You, for example.
I'm like Arnie in that respect, the daughter of migrants and with big dreams. I'm a fighter, and I won't give in to my situation. A knight in shining armor with a whale wallet won't come to save me.
Whale? I asked, intrigued.
What you're not, you're a shark, or a dolphin, light, swift, and smarter.
A ghost shark, I replied, remembering Anora's words. She smiled, finally. I hadn't realized she had a beautiful smile, no more beautiful than Annie's, but different. But I must stay away from her, from both of us, so that I don't exchange that smile for a look of anger or disapproval. The dance floor was already empty. Some instruments were set up next to the stage. An amp for my guitar was the most appropriate. I needed the screen, but for the solo of this power ballad, I was the one who was doing it. Lulu, excuse me, I must do my act. A song for Arnie, please don't feel alluded to.
You'll say, gold is more powerful than a verse, much more powerful than a flower, singing that MDO song.
And there's nothing I can do if you've already gone with him, responding to the song, making her smile again. I approached the stage and requested the song, Senza donna, by Zucchero and Paul Young. And before starting, I asked for everyone's attention. Excuse me, please, I want to dedicate this song to a girl who just got married. And by the way, to every lady present. It's all I really feel. Excuse me, I need this therapy, I need this release. I silently planned this prank, anyway, it didn't matter anymore. I was falling into the belief that despite the large number of beautiful girls crowding the place, my chances with them were slim to none. I looked at Lulu, and she smiled at me like someone wishing me luck. Deep down, I hoped they would feel bad, or that they would consider that no one would suffer for them. I started then, with my guitar already plugged into the amplifier. I had rehearsed for 2 months, and I hope it turns out excellently. And so it did, since sadness gave me the energy to achieve it. When I reached the chorus, I could sense the seriousness of all the ladies present and the applause of the gentlemen. I think the phrase, without a woman, had shaken them quite a bit, but it caused Lulu to chuckle slightly. She knew it, I had to vent my frustration. The guitar solo came, and I inadvertently noticed, except for Lulu, only gentlemen standing, clapping and dancing. The ladies present were impassive like lifeless statues, but with their eyes fixed on me. And when I finally finished, as I unplugged my guitar, silence fell over the place, a silence that was shattered by a black gentleman who exclaimed,